Black submerged army, capture him. Sun Er's cold cry sounded almost immediately after the figure shot out from within the mountain. She did not find that figure unfamiliar. Spirit restraining net? Many figures flew over the sky after Sun Er's cold cry sounded. An orderly loud roar sounded while powerful Doqi swiftly formed into a huge Doqi net in the sky. Finally, it came pressing over that figure from all directions. The huge net contained a special fluctuation. If one was caught within the web, one would fall into the hands of the many black submerged army's warriors and have difficulty escaping. Explode! That figure did not appear to panic in the face of the huge energy net. His hands formed some seals and dozens of ferocious wind shot out. The wind continuously shot towards the various parts of the net. Soon after, the wind whistled and actually forced the huge net back, after which he hurriedly lifted his head and looked at the distant sky. His body moved and his speed was raised to the limit as he hurried towards the sky. It's pointless. He is extremely familiar with the black submerged army's spirit restraining net. His attack completely targeted the weak spots on the net. Gu Qingyang's expression sunk after he saw that the huge Doqi net, which was formed by gathering the Doqi of many warriors from the black submerged army, being torn apart with such ease. Humph, Gu Yang, you traitor! Gu Yang quickly rushed towards the sky. Gu Dao Trio had also discovered him. Their expressions quickly turned cold. However, they were just about to attack when 3 of the 4 demon saints appeared in front of them in a ghost-like manner. The last person formed a hand seal, and a 10,000 feet large black light spluttered out from his palm and violent smashed onto the defensive light barrier. The frightening strength torn a crack line on the defense barrier. Don't let him escape. The sky was a complete chaos. Sun Er waved her hand. Although the Gu clan had many experts, many of the experts were unable to leave their position on the formation due to their need to defend against the Hun clan. However, they, who belonged to the younger generation, could act. Sun Er was the first to hurry forward after her cry sounded. Gu Qingyang and the rest hurriedly followed from behind. We should also fight. Huoxian on the stone platform of the training ground spoke in a deep voice after seeing this scene. His body quickly moved, and the huge fire wings on his back were spread. He hurried towards the figure in the sky. Huaya and the few experts from the Yin clan behind him also attacked at the same time. Big brother Lei Dong, what should we do? The younger generation from the Lei clan had also become a little absent-minded from the shock of this big battle. Lei Yun hesitated for a moment before asking, all of you should remain here. I will fight. Lei Dong knitted his brow tightly and cried out softly. A silver light flashed over his body, after which he rushed forward. The other members of the Lei clan could only nod helplessly upon seeing this. Given their strength, they would be seriously injured if Gu Yang was to even touch them. This would end up being a burden to the rest. That figure in the sky was hurrying towards the crack line torn open by one of the 4 demon saints of the Hun clan, Hun Yin. However, he was still 1,000 feet from the crack line when a couple of sharp winds suddenly appeared from behind him. They ruthlessly struck towards his fatal spots. At that moment, he could only pause his body and wave his sleeve. The few wind disappeared. However, in that instant, Sun Er's group had arrived in a flash and surrounded him. Elder Gu Yang, why have you done such a rebellious act? Sun Er's stern cry sounded. Her pretty eyes contained some fury as she looked at the old man, who was in a messy state. Hee, do you really think that I am the real Gu Yang? That old man, who was in a mess, involuntarily laughed in a strange manner after hearing Sun Er's reprimand. The gap between the hair that was hung in front of his face revealed a pair of densely cold eyes. These eyes were completely different from the friendliness of the past. Sun Er's group shrunk their eyes. Their hearts involuntarily felt a chill. This Guyang was indeed an elder of the Gu clan. If he was a fake, would it not mean that all the secrets of the Gu clan during the many years had been completely spread to the Hun clan? Gu Yang's soul had been forcefully merged with me in the hands of nihility, sir, 100 years ago. I have been living in isolation during these years, and did not dare to appear in front of Gu Yuan and the others. Fortunately, I have finally managed to wait for this day. Guyang laughed strangely. His body pulled backwards after his voice sounded. At the same time, many bright Do Chi pillars shot out from the palm of Sun Er's group. They crossed each other and ruthlessly strike towards Guyang. A group of young fellows actually intends to hold me back? Guyang laughed out loud. His palm violently pressed under him, and the space was distorted in an instant. It directly solidified and blocked the many Do Chi pillars. He, I shall take my leave first. Guyang once again laughed after blocking the attacks of Sun Er's group. He turned around and left. However, he was turning his body when a fist containing a pink flame directly tore open the space in front of him and smashed onto his chest with lightning-like speed. The hot wind had incinerated the Do Chi defense over Gu Yang's body within the blink of an eye. A blood-red handprint appeared on his chest. Trying to leave? Do you think that it is so easy? Xiao Yin stepped on the air and looked at the miserable-looking Gu Yang with a cold smile. The ferocious aura of a 6-star Do Sheng erupted from him, pressuring Gu Yang until the latter's expression changed drastically. Elder Hun Yin, save me. The powerful aura around Xiao Yan's body allowed Gu Yang to understand that he was definitely no match for the former in a fight. The latter hurriedly cried out, "Brat, how dare you spoil the plans of my Hun clan? You are seeking death." Hun Yin had naturally clearly seen the events that had transpired. He was extremely furious after seeing Gu Yang being stopped. This was especially the case when the person stopping Gu Yang was Xiao Yin, who had managed to escape from his hands. A furious cry sounded and his finger pressed on the air. An unusually deep black light shot out. Finally, it rushed forward at a speed not visible to the naked eye. Withering death finger. Xiao Yan's body had turned into a pink glass-like manner the moment Hun Yin attacked. His aura also soared suddenly. He pressed his finger forward for a couple of times. Yellow spring finger. Bang bang. An incomparably huge energy finger broke through the air as Xiao Yin pressed his fingers continuously. One finger after another was pressed violently onto the unusual black light. Immediately, both parties clashed. The yellow spring finger collapsed. Due to its large numbers, it managed to forcefully receive all of Hun Yan's attack after destroying 5 large energy fingers. Hun Yan's expression suddenly sunk after he saw that Xiao Yin had directly received his attack head-on. Some surprise surged within his eyes. Back when they were at the Yao clan, Xiao Yin still needed to borrow the strength of the heavenly flame in order to push him back. Now, however, the other party was already able to rely on his own strength to put up some resistance. This improvement was a little too shocking. I will just see how many figures you can receive today. Hun Yan's eyes flickered. Black light surged from his finger. Xiao Yan's strength was at the most at the 6-star Dosheng class. It had only been raised to this level through the use of secret technique. However, Xiao Yin was still greatly lacking if he wished to rely on this to fight Hun Yin head-on. Hun Yin did not give Xiao Yin any time to catch his breath as he let out a cold cry. He pressed his 10 fingers. Immediately, 10 black lights shot out and swiftly struck through the crack in the defense. After which, all of them targeted Xiao Yin. Xiao Yan's eyes hardened as he watched this scene. He curled his palm and gathered a fire lotus. Before his fire lotus could be formed, however, a strong figure suddenly rushed over. A punch was thrown and a seemingly mountain-like vast and mighty aura came pressing downwards. It actually shattered those 10 black rays of light. Hun Yin, allow me to fight with you. Attacking a member of the younger generation does not show that you are capable. Humph, Gu Lai, Yu, the black submerged king, has not improved much during these years. Hun Yan's expression was altered slightly. Ash looked at the mountain-like heavy figure. Black submerged king? The black submerged army top general? This Gu clan does indeed have many experts. Xiao Yin was startled as he looked at the back of the figure in front of him. He had never seen this person in the Gu clan. Young friend Xiao Yin, I will leave Gu Yang to you. You must snatch back the ancient Jade. The black submerged king swayed in the wind. He spoke in a deep voice without turning back, after which he stepped forward and directly engaged in an intense battle with Hun Yin. Xiao Yin nodded. He did not have the energy to pay attention to the fight between those two. Turning around, he looked at Gu Yang, who was in a terrible state, with a cold smile. Sun Er and the rest had also encircled around him and completely surrounded him. Gu Yang watched the encirclement around him. A ferocious expression suddenly flashed over his face. He stepped on the air and his body actually rushed towards the energy barrier in the sky. Xiao Yan's face turned cold after seeing that this person was actually planning to force his way in. Hot flame whistled out from him and smashed onto Gu Yang's body with lightning-like speed. Blood and flesh scattered immediately. Gu Yang's body was covered with blood after facing the intense attack from Xiao Yan's group. However, the ferocity and craziness on his face became increasingly intense. His seemingly crippled-like body was still 1,000 feet from the barrier when it actually began to swell rapidly. He is about to self-destruct. The expressions of Xiao Yan's group changed immediately upon seeing this scene. The self-destruct from an advanced 5-star Dosheng had quite a powerful force. Everyone quickly slowed down. Bang! Gu Yang's body had swiftly exploded apart, while Xiao Yan's group had reduced their speed. A frightening, uncontrolled, violent assault shattered the energy barrier in the blink of an eye. Energy raged and a blood glow suddenly shot out, after which they rushed towards the few battlegrounds in the sky in a crazy manner. The ancient Jade is inside. Stop him. Xiao Yan's sharp eyes immediately saw a palm-sized, crystal-clear ancient Jade being wrapped within the blood glow. It was surprisingly the Shi ancient god Jade from the Gu clan. That fellow had actually chose to self-destruct in order to deliver the ancient Jade. Swoosh! The bright light was just like a falling star as it swept through the sky with lightning-like speed, attracting the eyes of everyone present. Xiao Yin was the fastest to react. The wings behind him flapped suddenly the moment the red light tore through the energy barrier and escaped. Within a couple of flashes, he had appeared a short distance from the blood light. He curled his hand, and a suction force was emitted. The speed at which the red light flew out was greatly diminished. Humph! A somewhat cold snort suddenly descended from the sky, while Xiao Yin was stopping the red light. At the same time, waves after waves of dangerous feeling quickly surged out from within his heart. Bang! A feeling of danger had just appeared in his heart when the light above his head suddenly became dim. Soon after, the sky above Xiao Yan's head suddenly exploded apart. A white jade-like hand was extended from the sky. It grabbed at Xiao Yan, and the destructive strength contained within the palm wind caused even Xiao Yan's exterminating fire lotus to be unable to catch up. Hun Tiandi. Such a frightening pressure immediately caused this name to flash within Xiao Yan's heart. Only Gu Yuan and this person could be able to use such a frightening energy as they pleased. Withdraw. Xiao Yan did not pause even briefly in the face of the white jade-like hand. His body directly pulled backwards. He understood that with his strength, it was impossible for him to fight with Hun Tiandi. It was likely even extremely difficult for him to stop this person for even a moment. The name of the ultimate expert on the Do Qi continent was not simply an empty one. Xiao Yan was not slow, but that large hand was even faster. It directly tore through the space and grabbed downwards. However, the space around Xiao Yan fluctuated intensely just as the large hand was about to grab downwards. Immediately, another large palm tore through the space and collided violently with the clear white large hand. Bang! The two collided ferociously. An extermination storm quickly swept apart. Xiao Yan's expression changed drastically upon sensing the terrifying storm. His body hurriedly pulled back as he feared getting dragged into the fight. Hun Tiandi, since you wish to start a war, my Gu clan will accompany you till the end. Gu Yuan's stern cry, which seemed to vaguely contain a trace of fury, sounded in the sky after the large hands collided. Ha! You should have uttered these words back then when the Xiao clan had been destroyed by our Hun clan. Saying these words now is a little too late. Hun Tiandi's faint laughter sounded in the sky. After his voice sounded, many huge spatial cracks were suddenly rapidly formed in the empty space. Black fog surged out from within in all directions. Waves after waves of unusually powerful dark and cold auras spread from within the crack line. Has the Hun clan's army been mobilized? Xiao Yan's expression changed slightly after he sensed the number of powerful auras within the crack lines. Ayo! Black fog surged out from the cracks like floodwaters the moment they appeared. Finally, the swiftly turned into 100,000 feet large black seal. The black seal was suspended in the sky. The huge shadow completely covered this mountain range. Activate the formation. Seeing the huge black seal suspended in the sky, the expressions of all the experts within the Gu clan had become grave. The Hun clan had indeed come prepared. Fortunately, the experts from the Gu clan had already received their orders. Many loud cries immediately sounded. Boom boom. Light curtains suddenly surged from the mountains after the cries sounded. Waves after waves of powerful majestic energy, which caused one to shudder, turned into light pillar that whistled upwards. Finally, it flew into the sky and formed a gorgeous ancient mirror, which size was not inferior to the black seal. Light sparkled on the mirror, which was filled with a shocking energy fluctuation. Exterminating seal. The black seals in the sky shook. Suddenly, a low and sharp voice that seemed to belong to tens of thousands of individuals was emitted from within the crack lines. Immediately, the black seal directly descended from the sky. It was as though a disaster had fell onto this mountain range. The area within hundreds of thousands of feet would have been destroyed in an instant if the black seal struck the ground. Gudi's mirror. All the experts from the Gu clan maintaining the formation had reddened faces at this moment. Their furious cry resounded over the sky. Immediately, an incomparably huge, brilliant ancient mirror appeared and collided heavily with the black seal in front of many anxious pairs of eyes. Rumble. The entire world seemed to have collapsed at this moment. An indescribable destructive fluctuation raged crazily. Even though the ancient world is strong, many dark black cracks had been formed at this moment. Two huge creatures had violently collided in the sky. Immediately, they collapsed under the raging storm. Grug. Many experts from the Gu clan below ended up spitting out a mouthful of blood after the ancient mirror collapsed. The space cracks, which were filled with black fog, also emitted many sharp, miserable wails. Clearly, the all-out fight between the two clans this time around had resulted in quite a great loss. The extermination storm raged within the sky. Even the battlegrounds had been suppressed by it. The three immortals of the Gu clan and the 4 demon saints of the Hun clan withdrew their bodies while wearing frightened expressions. Despite their strength, they would likely end up dying if they were to be struck by this extermination storm. The only people who could remain fine under this extermination storm were Hun Tiandi, Gu Yuan, and the Nihility Devouring Flame. Xiao Yan hid within the formation. He looked at the extermination fluctuation that was spreading wildly in the distant sky like a furious roaring dragon. His expression was grave. Was this an attack that was unleashed with the strength of the entire clan? That earlier attack was definitely comparable to a 9-star dosheng. After the numbers reached a certain level, it was indeed sufficient to create a significant change. Where is the ancient Jade? The solemn expression on Xiao Yan's face continued for an instant before he suddenly turned his eyes. Finally, they paused on the spot outside of the experimentation storm in the sky. A weak red light was vaguely visible at that spot. While Xiao Yan saw the position of the ancient Jade, the nihility devouring flame, who was still entangled in a battle with the clan heads of the Lei and Yin clans, suddenly pulled back. The area behind him was the location of the ancient Jade. Stop him. He intends to snatch the ancient Jade. Xiao Yan hurriedly cried out with a change in expression upon seeing this scene. Lei Ying and Yin Jin had a slight change in expression after hearing Xiao Yan's cry. Their bodies immediately rushed forward. Lightning calamity palm. Descending flame mysterious finger. The two of them unleashed a sharp attack simultaneously while their bodies moved. A huge bright lightning palm and blinding fire glow flashed through the empty space at a speed undetectable to the naked eye and swiftly hurried towards the nihility devouring flame. Humph! The nihility devouring flame had a slightly cold expression as he faced the sharp attacks from the two of them. However, he did not dodge. Instead, his body shook. Countless black spirals appeared in the space around him. Bang, bang, bang. A frightening attack suddenly arrived. Densely packed black hole ripples continued to explode continuously. Although the black hole had hindered the attacking speed, this was merely a way to delay time. Once the black holes completely collapsed, the lightning palm and the fire finger immediately landed on the back of the nihility devouring flame. A frightening strength exploded on the nihility devouring flame's back. Black flame shot out in all directions. Even with the great strength of the nihility devouring flame, he involuntarily staggered after being struck heavily by Lei Ying and Yin Jin. His body also became paler. With the help of this force, his body appeared at the red light in a flash. His mouth widened and swallowed the ancient Jade into his mouth. The nihility devouring flame laughed out loud after the ancient Jade landed in his hands. The 4 demon saints from the Hun clan rushed forward and guarded him. Their eyes were cautiously looking at Lei Ying and Yin Jin, who were giving chase. Hee, have you beaten till your fill? Be rest assured this I will definitely make you repay this palm strike today many times over. The expression of the nihility devouring flame had become dark and cold as he looked at Lei Ying and Yin Jin and laughed in a strange voice. Lei Ying's and Yin Jin's expressions were unusually ugly. It was unexpected that the two of them combined were unable to stop the nihility devouring flame. Instead, they had allowed the latter to snatch his ancient Jade. Let's go. The nihility devouring flame did not linger for long after getting hold of the ancient Jade. His body moved, and he hurried into the spatial crack. Halt! The space fluctuated just as the nihility devouring flame moved. Gu Yuan appeared. His expression seemed slightly gloomy. Before he could attack, the grayish-white clothed Hun Tiandi appeared in front of him. He had received Gu Yuan's attack with a flip of his hand, after which his body drifted backwards. Black fog surged from the spatial crack behind him. A huge black seal was once again formed. Gu Yuan's body trembled as he looked at the black seal which was formed. The experts from the Gu clan below hurriedly formed the ancient mirror in an attempt to defend against the exterminating attack from the Gu clan upon seeing this. Gu Yuan, I have said that the Gu clan had lost the best opportunity to fight the Hun clan when the Xiao clan was destroyed. Hun Tiandi laughed faintly as he looked at the gloomy Gu Yuan and slowly said, "The 2 Shi ancient god mansion will ultimately land in the hands of my Hun clan. Gu Yuan, I will advance into that level. Trust me." The ancient Jade is separated into 8 pieces. You have only obtained 5 of them. There is no need to act in such a pleased manner. Guing cried out in a cold voice. Is that so? A strange smile surfaced on Hun Tiandi's face after he heard this. He immediately spoke softly. The clan heads of the Lei and Yin clan has left their clans. Do you think that the Hun clan will not grasp such an opportunity?
What?
Lei Ying's and Yin Jin's body trembled upon hearing these words. Their expressions became extremely grave. Could it be that the Hun clan had also attacked the Yin and Lei clans while attacking the Gu clan? Hun Tiandi merely smiled faintly in the face of the shock from the two of them. He slowly withdrew into the spatial crack line with the Nihility devouring flame and the others. Even Gu Yuan did not dare to simply attack under the deterrence from the huge black seal. That's right. Hun Tiandi's eyes suddenly turned towards Xiao Yin, who was in the formation, just as his body was about to disappear into the crack line. You are Xiao Yin, right? The ancient Jade of the Xiao clan should be in your hands. Ugh, half a month later, at the burial Sky Mountain range, bring the ancient Jade over if you wish to rescue your father. Hun Tiandi completely disappeared into the spatial crack after his voice slowly sounded. The huge black seal in the sky trembled before slowly vanishing.